resources for our students. So we are Team Hunger Busters.
I'm Roseanne Warnock. I'm on the Kenosha campus, and I'm a student health specialist.
And I'm Jamie Spatial, our Career Pathways Manager on the Kenosha campus as well. So a little bit of background about our project. Our coach and project sponsor was Madeline Carrera, who's our Service Learning Coordinator. And the scope of the project was really to research the need for a student food closet and develop a solution based on the results. I can tell you that going into this back in September, and then I think our team members will, our group members will remember this, when it was time to pick teams and we all picked numbers out of the top. I was lucky enough to pick number 1, and we had really wanted this project, and about 30 seconds after we selected, we went, oh my God, what did we just do?
We really wanted the warm and fuzzy, and then we're like, wait, oh wait.
Right? This was a lot more work, and we figured it out pretty quickly than we had originally anticipated. So. We also took the time to develop a project philosophy to help guide our work. So what we wanted to do was to find a way to alleviate the barriers and challenges associated with food insecurity and hunger that some of our students often face so that they can remain in school and ultimately earn their degrees.
So as a team, we examined what we needed to consider. What is a food insecurity, and who is this actually affecting? Is this actually affecting students? So that's where we actually started. So we found this great definition of food security, and food security is access by all people at all times to enough food for a healthy and active lifestyle. So that is our ultimate goal. So we just wanted to look at nationally what is going on. So in 2014, Hunger in America completed a survey that showed the national food insecurity among students was 1 in 10 of Feeding America's 46.5 million clients that are students. Of those 1 in 10 students, 31% of them reported that they had to choose between either paying for food or for their education. Then we looked more locally what was going on. So in 2015, the Wisconsin Hope Lab completed a research of 4,300 students from 10 different community colleges. The community colleges were spread out through 7 different states, and there was one community college within Wisconsin, which was Moraine Park Technical College. This survey found that 1 in 5 students had gone hungry within the last 30 days. 39% said that the food they had purchased did not last them for the whole month. They did not have extra funds to buy more food. And they lacked balanced meals, which then impacts their cognitive functions, which does not help when you're trying to go to school. So then we looked at what are some risk factors associated with food insecurity. There are 5 of them, which limited income, tuition, housing expenses. Students can be really reliant on credit cards and loans. These students are not actually eligible to receive food assistance within their communities, and they lack the financial literacy skills that they need. So these are some reasons why we feel it's necessary to have a food resource on campus. Lack of transportation. Students are facing challenges of actually getting to the places that are serving food. So we're taking that totally out of the equation. Now they are eligible to receive a food resources from us if they are not eligible to receive that in the community. Students have scheduling conflicts, so they can't always go to the food pantries when those are open to them. And then accessibility issues. They can't always go where they need to go to receive the resource.
So in addition to the national research that we conducted, we also wanted to kind of find out from our own students what their needs were to really determine what the need was here at Gateway and if we should pursue even moving forward with a food resource. So our approach, we worked with the college's research specialist, David Schubach, to develop a survey. We drafted 7 questions related to students' access to food resources, as well as 4 questions related to demographic information. We thought that in the future, as we hopefully can expand this project, that will help us to target specific categories of students who may be facing the greatest need. We sent a survey out to all of our students via email. We also put a reminder out on Facebook with the assistance of and marketing. We only received 68 total responses, but that was not surprising to us for a couple of reasons. First, food insecurity can often come with shame or embarrassment for a student, so it is not surprising that many of them may not have wanted to respond to survey questions about their ability to provide for themselves. And also, students may have been uncomfortable answering that survey here, and the population of students that we're targeting and trying to get information from most likely don't have Wi-Fi or computer access at home to take that type of a survey. So we'll just share with you a little bit of the research here. So the majority of students who answered were either from the Kenosha or the Racine campus, which shouldn't really surprise most of our folks here in the room that are staff. We asked them, in the last 12 months, how often did you worry that you would not have enough money to buy food? And almost 80% of students said sometimes or often of those who responded. In the last 12 months, how often did you cut or skip a meal because you didn't have enough food? So again, the majority of students said sometimes or often. In the last 12 months, how often did you go hungry because of lack of money? So again, much greater than we're hoping to see, that most students said sometimes or often. In the last 12 months, how often were you unable to eat balanced meals because of lack of money? So again, quite a large percentage of those responding said that they were not able to get those nutritious or balanced meals that they need. We also asked if Gateway had a food pantry, how often do you feel that you would need to use it? So this also really helped sort of guide our work, that most students felt that maybe 1 or 2 times a semester or more sporadic would be what they would need in terms of helping them to get by. We also asked about their awareness of food pantries in their community, and 70% of them were aware. But again, awareness doesn't always equal eligibility or access to those resources. And then in terms of demographics, 84% of our respondents were female, 46% were under the age of 29, 40% were taking 4 to 9 credits, and often that particular group of students is not eligible for full aid and may not even be eligible for partial aid based on the type of program that they're in. So that obviously would correlate to not having enough financial resources to provide for themselves. And probably not surprisingly, half of them have children in their households.
So during this process of researching and forming the food resources on our campus, we had several connections we had to make. The first stop was connecting with our WTCS colleges. We wanted to see what was going on, who was doing what, and what worked best. So we made connections by emails and phone calls. One of the most impactful was with WCTC. They actually have a campus cover coordinator on, so they were ready to go. They gave us all their feedback, what to do, what not to do, steer clear of this, don't even go down this path. So it was great to hear where should we go, where should we begin. So originally we thought campus cover, there we go. But as you see, not really much room, so we'll get into that.
Well, and I think the good part too about reaching out to another college is we had the opportunity to sort of compare and see what might work for us and what might not. WCTC, talks about handing out, some perhaps more non-nutritious food because those are the donations that they receive. So right there, we kind of knew that we needed to figure out a way to maneuver around that and provide some better options for our students. And they also allow students to come, at least once a week if they want, and to obtain food resources. And obviously with the population and just the sheer number of students that we work with here at Gateway, that would not have been a possibility for us.
And then we also made several connections with our own Gateway experts. We leaned on Maddie with our project coordinator. She was awesome, great feedback. Also our mentors, Zena and Stacy, they helped guide us where exactly we needed to go, what connections we needed to make. We also consulted with Jennifer in the foundation. She gave us great feedback and led us down a new path. Lindsay and Trina helped us secure DAB funding to sustain our project and make sure that we have these things ready to go. And then Tammy Summers helped connect us to student support counselors, because our goal is to help students, but what do they do after we help them? We want to make sure that they are set to go so we can keep them here at school. And then our goal throughout the project was to ensure success and sustainability. provide 25 bags district-wide. This STAB funding, we are going to request this annually. Also, we established a policy for obtaining the bags so that hopefully our supplies will last a little bit longer to touch the audience that it actually needs to. So students will actually meet with a student support counselor. This can happen through self-initiation or staff referral. Counselors will then evaluate the need if the student needs this food resource. And if they do, they will be connected to the center manager who will meet that immediate need by providing them with a bag of food. The bag of food will consist of about 3 days worth of food to get them through. And then also, students are eligible to receive 1 bag per semester. They must be currently attending classes, and they're automatically connected to an FSET counselor. We currently have FSET counselors on campus. FSET is food share, so hopefully we can connect them with the assistance that they need and see if they're eligible to receive funding so that this does not happen any further. Also, with establishing our bag policy, it's going to help us maintain ethical boundaries between our counselors and our students. We are going to be obtaining the food through an online order. It's going to be a bulk order, so we're actually going to be saving money. And we're actually ordering from the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree will deliver directly to the Kenosha campus. And this is going to allow us to maximize our funds so this can be sustainable.
And I just want to interject. So one of the hurdles that we actually had with our project was figuring out where to get the food from. So WCTC orders from Peapod, but Peapod's not cheap. So we wanted to be able to, again, sustain with the funds that we had. So we really racked our brains and we looked at Amazon and we looked at Sam's Club and we looked at several different resources. And all of a sudden, one day we were meeting and Brizanne looked at me and she said, "Why don't we just order from Dollar Tree?" She said, they have
everything's not $1.
Right, yeah.
The cheaper, the more you order.
Right, and they have, which we'll show you momentarily, surprisingly very nutritious food that we'll be able to provide to students. So this is really a way where we can maximize the funds that we have to provide as many days as possible to students.
So these are actual potential items that we can put into the bag. As you can see, they are going to be more balanced meals. Each month we are going to determine what we need to have in the bag. Dollar Tree sometimes has items and sometimes does not. So we are going to utilize a food pantry guideline just so that we know that they're going to get the balanced meals so they have those cognitive functions at the top. So we know that they're bringing their best to school when they're here. These are definitely the examples, and we, like I said before, we're expecting to provide 3 days worth. Each day we'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And we plan on getting staff involved. We are going to hold food drives on campus where we're going to ask for specific items. So one may be pasta and pasta sauce, where the other is canned veggies. We're hoping this will reduce our costs so that our money lasts a little bit longer, and now we can get our staff involved. And also, by setting the predetermined items, we can make sure that they're healthier options for our students. Donations will be identified prior to us actually putting that out. And this will just be shared with faculty and staff so that we can do an in-house food drive. We are also going to put something out on the database for volunteers, because we're going to allow volunteers to come and help us assemble the bags for each campus.
So in terms of some potential partnerships we've identified, we'd like to work with our culinary arts program so that they can develop some recipes based on bag contents. Oftentimes, if you give someone a bag, and Stephanie, you and I had this conversation, which is why you're shaking your head yes at me, that if you give someone a bag of rice and beans, it will last them much longer. But they often don't know how to prepare that or how to combine ingredients together, so we thought this would be a great way to get our culinary students involved. We've also had some preliminary conversations with our Human Service Associate program. They have a student club that may be interested in doing some fundraising to sponsor 1 month of the bags, or to also be involved with the packaging of the bags. And then also we'll continue to work with from our student finance department to make SALT workshops available for students. If you want to explain SALT, that's your area.
So SALT is our financial literacy tool here at Gateway. As we mentioned earlier, financial literacy is one of the risk factors. So let's prep them, give them the financial tools that they need, and then hopefully we can incorporate budgeting, so this problem does not exist for them, and they can overcome this barrier.
In terms of ordering and bag assembly, so we will be transitioning this project back over to Maddie. She will sort of be overseeing that, at least for the time being. So she will assist with ordering food each month and kind of putting that together. We also know that our student life coordinators have some student workers that will be helping them. Maddie will hopefully be having some student workers as well for the upcoming academic year. So they'll all be kind of working on that together. As Roseanne mentioned before, we'll have the food order delivered to Kenosha once per month. And then the bags will be assembled by volunteers, so either student or staff or a combination of both. We're going to include some supplemental materials for the bags. We'd like to include flyers from 211, which, as many of you probably in the room know, is a service where folks can just dial 211 on their phones, and it puts them in touch with various community resources to help them with whatever needs they may have. We'll also be providing information on SALT and financial literacy, information on upcoming campus events and resources, so we'll be tailoring that to each specific campus, as well as additional support services. We'd like to draft a support letter from the staff and from DAB, since that's where the funding came from, to really encourage students and let them know that we're behind them, we want them to be successful, and that we hope that the food that we're able to provide, even though it's only a few days worth, can help get them through and kind of move on to the next phase. We will also be asking students to complete a thank you card. They'll be using those as sort of impact statements to request future funding. And then again, the recipes created by culinary students. Campus distribution, again, 25 bags per month, so 225 students we hope to serve annually. We'll be dividing amongst the campuses, so 10 will be going to Kenosha and Racine and 5 to Elkhorn. And we've recruited student services staff to help deliver the bags to Racine and Elkhorn once per month. We did check with facilities to see if our mail delivery staff could help with that, but just due to their workloads, they'd be unable to sort of move the bags for us. So Stacy and her staff were gracious enough to offer that as they sort of move around the district each month. And then our transition plan, we plan to meet with all the stakeholders in early June, like Maddie, to finalize all the policies and procedures and to clarify roles. We'll be providing those policies to the student support counselors by the end of July so that they have a very clear picture of how to implement this and work with students moving forward. And we hope to place the first food order in mid-August so that the bags can be assembled and delivered by the start of the fall semester. We're also hoping, if we can get everyone on board, to sort of coordinate potentially a staff food drive for our fall in-service days so that we can get everyone kind of on board and back for the semester off on the right foot. And then in terms of sustainability, we're going to collect data on student use, including the number of students that we're unable to serve. We think showing both numbers will be very impactful as we ask for continued funding in the future. And then again, those student impact statements that we will be collecting from those receiving bags this year. We will utilize that data to submit a data funding request for 27-18 in the spring of next year. We obviously anticipate an increase in the amount of funds that we've requested from this year. And then again, just continued donations from staff.
All right, so now to just discuss the barriers. As with any project, there are hiccups, so we're just going to go over some of the ones that we experienced. So, we started off as a 3-member team, and we transitioned to the both of us, which works out pretty great because we are very similar and very different. So, yay!
And that happened on really early. That happened on in the fall, where we unfortunately lost our 3rd team member, Ann Wilkinson, unexpectedly. So we really had to stop kind of what we were doing and regroup pretty quickly and sort of think about our roles and responsibilities moving forward and how we were going to, kind of share the load for this really large project as just the 2 of us.
It gave us the time to refocus. How big do we want this? Do we scale back? who's ready to take on what. So that was a great opportunity for us to make even more connections now throughout the college, which helps gear us where we need to go. And then we also experienced some delayed communication from staff providing vital resources and information. Everyone has a lot of priorities going on. So when we experienced this, we had to reshift, try to get some of our other goals out of the way while we were waiting for some of those responses from when staff members actually had time. And then we learned, don't just always have a plan A. We had a plan A where we thought, oh, we have this food closet, great, students can come and visit us, they can see our smiling faces, how great will this be? There's no room, where would they find us? And then we thought, great, staff donations. We really want to keep all of our funding with our scholarships right now. That's not going to work. So then C, oh no, we lost a partner, now what do we do? So we really decided that we need to have multiple plans ready to go. This is what we're thinking, but what can we do if that doesn't go?
So we really did end up on Plan Z. So what you're seeing today is Plan Z because we had to regroup and refocus so many times. And then what leadership abilities were necessary to complete the project? So then again, networking, as you saw earlier, we had to obviously reach out to other colleges within Wisconsin, as well as lean on several folks here within the institution to make this work. Adapting to change was really key for us. Every time we thought we had something taken care of, we got thrown a curveball and had to stop and sort of change direction. In terms of maximizing our strengths, so the interesting thing similar to the group that presented before us is that Roseanne and I share 3 of the 5 strengths the same. And so we both share responsibility, relator, and learner. And then I have strategic and woo.
And I have achiever and discipline.
So we really
I wanted right. There was no option of not having this done before today. There wasn't an option.
So even though we had very similar strengths, we did have a strength in each of the 4 domains. And both being, responsible and both having that drive and that commitment really allowed us to stay focused and to say it doesn't matter what you throw at us, we're going to figure this out. At one point in time, Roseanne and I said, we're going to be making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on our own and handing them out. It's just what's going to have to happen to make this work. So
we needed a plan. And what we found was very funny is we are very strategic and we want things in a certain order and we're kind of very, when projects are going on, hey, what are you doing? Are you making sure this is done by that date? We need to know because I am going to stand up in front of everybody and make sure this is done. That didn't happen with us. It kind of just flowed naturally. I knew that she was going to stick to it because she gets responsibility just as much as I do up there. So it made our partnership stronger. I think we were able to rely on each other, which was great. Meetings that I could not make with different partnerships, she could, and vice versa, the other way around as well. So it was a great partnership. We made a strong friendship and relationship through this, which was awesome. And that was all because of the first day when we matched up our strengths and found, hey, guess what? This works. So.
And the really interesting thing is that Roseanne and I worked in the same building for several years, but never really talked to each other. We'd see each other in the hall, we'd say hello, and that was it. So like she said, we really built a strong friendship, a very strong connection that I'm sure will continue on beyond our time in the program. In terms of effective communication, as Roseanne said, we often hit roadblocks or hurdles where we weren't receiving information from people as timely as we would have liked it. So we really had to, step back a little bit and think strategically about, okay, what is our next approach to get this information from this person? How do we get what we need? And then knowing our audience. So as we were pitching different components of the project to different stakeholders, we really had to figure out what their buy-in would be, what was in it for them, and then tailor our delivery based on that information. We'd obviously like to give special thanks to Maddie, who was our project coach. She was very supportive along the way. She loved every idea that we had, which was great. so that worked out well in our favor. But she was very good about talking through things with us us, and she has so much information about topics like these because of her work in service learning, so she was able to give us a great perspective kind of going into the project. And then Zena and Stacy, again, thank you both. Your information that you provided, your support, your advice was really invaluable for us to be able to move forward. So what else would you like to know about our project?